In 5, 4, 3. Hello and welcome to the WoaS podcast, Mini-sode 5. Today we're going to be discussing the Beatles' John Lennon posthumous recording Now and Then.
Let's jump into it.
Yeah, let's jump into it. I'm joined by my co-host, Jeremy Dillon, who's got a fresh as fuck due, and we're excited to premiere it tonight. Yep, show the ladies, buddy.
Got the nice fade,
Yeah.
little, almost a skin fade.
Yeah, we kind of modernized Jeremy here, and and we like the results. So hopefully the rest of you do as well. I am in
If you
need
saw
of a
our
haircut.
previous video, if anybody saw the previous video, they noticed I really needed a haircut.
Yeah, I didn't feel this, but what did you? Never mind.
I got a haircut like a day before that episode, and it didn't go as planned.
Right.
And so I got a follow-up cut
Yeah,
to remedy all of that.
looks good, man. I like it.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
We should have worn mop tops, I guess, tonight though.
Oh yeah, maybe you should have kept the first iteration of the hair too.
Yeah, it could have been perfect for tonight. I could
Yeah.
have made it a little theme.
Oh well, and it's all in hindsight.
Yep.
So would you like to give us a little appraisal of what begat this recording, as far as you know? And if you're light on that information, I'll try to fill in gaps from what I have heard thus far. But maybe just a little summary.
Yeah, according to my research, which consisted of watching a 12-minute short documentary on the Beatles' own YouTube channel, which everyone should go check out.
Mm-hmm.
This is a song that the remaining Beatles back in the 90s tried to record, and the recording sessions didn't go as planned because it's based on a demo by John Lennon where he's playing piano and singing. And at the time, they didn't have the technology to separate the two like we do now. There's all kinds of plugins and web browser plugins.
Right.
You can just throw a song up and get vocals or any instrument you want out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But back in the mid 90s, they didn't have that technology, and so this one got shelved. And the remaining Beatles, released two other singles as kind of like final Beatles songs to come out after John Lennon's death.
Mm-hmm.
And with the recording, if you've seen the documentary of Get Back on HBO, chronicling the recording of that last Let It Be Abbey Road studio album, Peter Jackson has apparently got some AI technology now that he's using. He used for that documentary to separate out Beatle voices, different instruments, so he could kind of create a narrative more coherently for that documentary.
Okay, yeah.
That was really the impetus for it. And Paul McCartney obviously knew about this technology, and so they used it on that demo and were able to put out this full track with Paul on bass, Ringo on drums. They have old recordings of the guitars from the 90s featuring George Harrison. And you've got John Lennon singing, so you've kind of got the last recording we'll ever hear of all four of these guys together.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a little time travel that they're doing if you think about it that way. It's like a 4D release instead of just a single that they worked on at one point in time.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that about Harrison's guitar tracks being laid down in that initial attempt. So that's interesting, because then, that also means that from a production and then like engineering perspective, you now have essentially two layers of challenges in front of you that they had to reconcile. So and I could just imagine in 95 how difficult that was to sort of even maybe kind of like line things up from a timing point of view, because they weren't doing, the Pro Tools wasn't being used yet. And so there was no sort of like concept of a grid that anything was being locked to, or at least the technology wouldn't have been sophisticated enough to like handle that. And it certainly wasn't anything like a flex time. So that,
Yeah.
So I would imagine like, whatever was printed into that track, let's say it was like they're capturing vocals and guitar, piano, whatever Lennon was accompanying, alongside his voice. if he was messing up and starting or stopping, it was a little bit rubato. It was probably hard for them to like, kind of keep in sync with that. And who knows? I don't know if they got into this in the 12-minute documentary, but just like I wonder if it was just a matter of like them getting frustrated and like this isn't going to work and just throwing their hands up, or
well, apparently it was just they could not get the bleed from the piano right, and they wanted his voice to really pop. And anytime they tried to bring the voice up into the mix, you were just getting way too much piano bleed.
Oh,
and so
it was
separating
competing
those tracks. Yeah.
Okay. To where like you couldn't make out the
separated.
voice if you raise the level. Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that whatever technology that Peter Jackson's crew came up with seemed to have solved that in some way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I'm guessing they're using some sort of probably widely available AI tool.
Yeah.
Audio. And they've probably trained it on John Lennon's voice so it can, or probably all the Beatles' voices so it can pull out his voice really accurately.
That's some wild stuff.
Yeah. So we would never have this without the invention of AI.
Yeah. Well, okay. There's a check in the pro column for AI and music right there, right?
Yeah. And apparently Paul had done an original bass track and didn't like it when they went back in to redo it with the AI.
Okay.
And so he has a new bass track. You can hear Paul and Ringo both singing on the bridge part of the song.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to hear a young John Lennon voice with an aged Paul and Ringo singing.
Sure. Yeah.
It kind of gives it this haunting feeling to me. Like there's like a little bit of sadness. It's kind of a sad song anyway.
Yeah.
It's definitely melancholy, but to hear them singing with a young John Lennon, it's just, I don't know, it just brought up some emotions for me. I listened to the song a bunch of times.
Yeah. Yeah, I had the same feeling hearing it. So I think I've listened to it 3 times now. Where it's appropriately melancholy sad in the sense that no matter what, I'm sure anytime they listen to something, especially something where they hadn't worked on it before, and there's maybe more longing there, that they're always going to be missing their friend. Well, and then now too, with this recording, George is now gone, so that's like 2 people in the recording that from different time periods where it was maybe more recent, so more fresh for Paul and Ringo. Yeah, that had to be kind of like difficult even this far down the line to like get through that properly, or to kind of maybe stay focused in the right way.
Right.
Yeah, and so something I think there was something else I thought of when you were talking about like the number of attempts made, and that like they were able to capture George's guitar and I guess vocal parts and keep them on. But another thought I had, I wonder if when this was dug up by, I think Yoko, right? Brought this to them. If it was and would have sounded like a post-Beatles John Lennon song, just the way it was recorded and the way he intended it to land and sound and everything. And then
I think
and then their additional sort of their collaboration, if that sort of like turned the Beatles corner, because it's very, I don't even know what specific set of songs, album or anything that I would tie it to. Like there's instrumentation and stuff that they're using that probably like, oh, this sounds like it's not this, but like Hey Bulldog or something, right? But as soon as everyone else comes in, it feels, explicitly Beatles. And that's what's cool about it, because unlike what we were talking about with the Stones, with their recent album, this is like also all of our chance to hear like a new Beatles song, not just in the sense that there's this unreleased track that never saw the light of day, but it's like at least Paul and Ringo are adding something brand new to this song, and then therefore it's it's a brand new Beatles song in that sense,
right?
And they kind of give us all what we want in the sense of like there's these great harmonies that it sounds like all of them together when they're young, even though they're different ages in spirit anyway, and then even like the way the strings are brought in, and this is without the help of George Martin. So
yeah, they got his son to arrange this string.
Oh, really?
Which is interesting. Yeah,
that's cool. So there you go. That's even more amazing that there's like that legacy in there. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a guitar solo in it that Paul actually plays, and he said he did it in the style of George
Wow.
on the slide. He's playing like a slide guitar.
Yeah. That's wild.
And it sounds kind of like George. I won't say exactly because George is very distinctive on the slide guitar.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, add another thing to the list of what makes Paul McCartney so impressive is that he's like this multi-instrumentalist and has a real ear for all different styles of music and arrangements and whatnot, and is able to like he's apparently a good drummer too. So like great, sure. He's also can play slide and somewhat mimic his friend. That's who was a great guitar player unto himself. Very interesting.
In the documentary, they talk about that George actually said this song was shit.
Oh,
so
okay.
So it's interesting that they revived it.
Yeah,
I think he probably. I mean, George seemed like a moody guy a little bit.
Yeah.
Based on the documentary.
Right.
Obviously, I didn't know him, but he seemed a little bit moody, and it seems like he could be the guy that at the end of the day is like, this isn't working. Why are we doing this? Let's move on.
Right. I'm assuming he was saying that during the period when they were attempting to do this the first time.
Yeah, back
right?
in 95.
Yeah. Even if he's not moody, I think anyone can, in that scenario probably could get frustrated. However, you have to wonder if it's, hey, we're collaborating, but this is like a John Lennon song. It's not a like a Us Together Beatles kind of song, and maybe that's sort of where he was coming from with that as well. But to kind of touch on that aspect of it again as well, it's not a remarkable song in the sense of the rest of their catalog.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't matter, in my opinion, because it's so, like I said, explicitly them that if you're a Beatles fan, it feels like home. And it's like, oh, I just missed this in the catalog, and I always like this song. It's maybe not up there with one of your favorites, but you always need to hear it. It always needs to be part of the album kind of thing, right?
Right.
So I like that. It feels right, whether it's the best work they've put out or not. That's good enough, right? It's like that's like most bands' best effort ever,
right.
And what I mean by that, if we're lucky enough to have a lot of people watch this and they start yelling at us, what I mean by that is just that structurally there's nothing super complex going on. No. And it's, at least in its inception, John Lennon's idea and song. So they're just kind of adding to it. It's not like they had like a back and forth over this. They would have had to add other parts, and then Paul or Ringo would have to take lead and sort of to take it in another direction. So so it works. I mean, it's for something that was sort of like one snapshot of an idea, maybe mostly fully formed, but specifically John's idea.
Yeah. There's a lot of people in the comments on the song talking about, they're reading into the lyrics. This is some sort of Nostradamus moment for John, that he knew somehow that this song, if you read the lyrics, they're kind of like prophetic in a way. Mm-hmm. It's like, if I make it through, it's all because of you.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of forward looking. Mm-hmm. And to have Paul and Ringo pick up this song and put it out, and to care about it that much, I think is really special.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I kind of got the same feeling when I was listening to it, like maybe it is some sort of prophetic thing. This is going to be their last song they ever put out, and maybe it's all coincidence. Who knows?
Yeah.
How the universe works.
Yeah.
But it's a good one to end on because it celebrates John, I think, and as the first Beatle to pass away.
Right.
And I don't think the other two are too far behind, unfortunately, for all of us music lovers, because they put out so many great tracks over the years.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge Beatles fan.
Yep, same.
Love the Beatles.
Yeah.
And so I'll definitely listen to this one over the years, I think. I think it'll hold up just because it will be special that it's the last one.
Yeah.
And they did a great job marketing
it's
it.
It's a nice, like, I don't know if like closure would be the right word, but it's a nice sort of, if you're a fan and, you follow the arc of all of their history and what they've done from, what we all know of their beginnings to now. Yeah, it's a nice sort of full circle experience where something happened in your lifetime. It's this thing that happens now that you can experience and appreciate and have it feel like it's part of your time. And then also
Right.
maybe, because of the vibe of the song, you can sort of like feel the emotion from it in a way that doesn't have the same impact as some of the previous stuff. So it's weird. I think it hits a bunch of different little emotional and artistic heartstrings or whatever, pulls on them. How often has this been done successfully? They did that when they had the anthology that was released in, I guess that's when, right, they were trying to.
Yeah, that was at the same time.
Okay, because it was Free as a Bird too, which I think was another one that was like partially finished or whatever.
Yep.
Right. And I don't know if they approached that in the same way, where like one of them started to record that and then they had to kind of pick up where the previous Beatle left off.
Yeah, I think that's the case. I think it was also, I think there was 3 songs Yoko brought to them that were demos that John was doing.
Interesting. That one, but Free as a Bird, I remember feeling like that was a very like early, maybe like a Revolver era type Beatles song. I have to go back and listen to that. That was pretty cool. But I think this
pretty
one's more
cool.
interesting.
Yeah, I never I wouldn't go back and listen to that one for whatever reason. I don't know. It didn't have the same impact as this one.
Yeah.
Maybe it's what you're talking about, where it's like, I'm here as it's released, and they've done a really good job marketing it, and for whatever reason, I seem to care about it. I don't know why.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing: the official video.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think we're gonna play it, but when any of you go and watch it, the official video, if you haven't already, there's kind of what they're doing in the Stones Angry, where like you have all these different like snapshots of the band from different like eras, but what they're also doing is it's like young George with current Paul and current Ringo, and then like different eras of there's like young Paul next to current Paul, and every iteration you can think of. But they definitely do a deep fake kind of like AI thing where there was probably like an actor that's doing something like hokey and fun that John Lennon would have done. If the Get Back documentary showed us anything, is that they were all fun-loving and lighthearted and all that stuff, and would joke around a lot. So there's a lot of that in there, which is kind of nice, and it offsets the seriousness of the tone of the song a little bit, which is good. Makes it a little bit more, maybe even makes it more bittersweet. But anyway, putting together a video like that, if you look at like the view count, the videos, the song itself is, I'm sure, and counting, but it's like, I don't know, something like 5 million views for a song that's been out at the time of this recording 3 days. Whoa. And then, but the video has got like 20 million views.
Wow.
So, that's another point about how, it being released now and being a brand new Beatles thing, especially with, just like the Stones with the Hackney Diamonds, like we're assuming artwork and whatever kind of modern stuff that they put into it, the video with Sydney Sweeney and all that. In the same way, the Beatles taking advantage of that is cool and obviously connects, and I wonder how many of that 20 million are like, fans or new listeners under the age of 30. Probably a lot, So that's cool to see as well. Yet another legendary band that gets their due with the current crowd.
Yeah, I would say the most legendary band ever.
Yeah,
most likely,
for sure.
Yeah, we'll never see another band that has the impact that these guys do, and so I think that's part of the reason it's like, okay, this is officially the end.
Yeah.
Of any music we'll hear from those 4 guys, and there's something about it. It's like witnessing a historical moment. I was thinking about, okay, what would it be like to hear like Beethoven's Last Symphony? Like that's the level of impact we're talking about.
Yeah,
with these 4 guys.
Yeah, for sure. And that's got to be kind of trippy for them too, to be a part of that and realize that and see the impact as well. I mean, I'm sure they've had so many sort of different moments, and maybe a lot of it, becomes old hat. But just watching the, from that viewpoint, that's got to be kind of wild too. To see, to have the front row seat to all that as well. So
can't even imagine.
Yeah, oh my God. Well, I don't know. I guess that kind of.
Yeah, I think we wrapped it up. Go listen to the song.
Yeah,
it's worth checking out.
Yeah, no, it is definitely. And let us know if there's any other kind of interesting tidbits. As far as the backstory of any of this stuff that we left out from the documentary or other anecdotes that you guys have, and let's, as always, have a conversation. Yeah, so if you made it this far, thank you for watching. If it's your first time, please give us a like and a subscribe. And if it's your whatever number time, thanks for coming back. We appreciate it, and we'll continue to do more fun stuff. We're going to probably get off some of the hop off the popular train for a little while and focus on a couple different sort of formats that we've been talking about. We may be doing some kind of fun reimagining of popular song explorations. We've been talking about a couple different formats we want to play with, so stay tuned for that. But
yeah, and if you have any great ideas on things we should cover, put them in the comments.
Yeah, please.
We're gonna read them.
And also, we have our contact email on the channel too. So if you ever want to shoot us a message, you can send an email to info@woaspodcast.com, and we'll get back to you. We promise.
Very promptly.
Anyway, yeah, of course. All right. Well, another one for the books, Jeremy. Take care of that hairdo. Keep it fresh.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Looking good, and I'll try to get a haircut for next episode.
Yeah, I might come back with blue hair for the next one. Who knows?
Awesome. Okay, I look forward to it. Yeah, just make sure you have your lighting, adjusted accordingly. Maybe too much of the camera to handle.
Right.
Yeah.
All
right,
right,
man.
buddy.
Till next
later.
time. All right, have a good one.
A quick request.
Oh, hey, didn't see you there. You like this video? Leave a comment down below. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe. We'll make more content like this. It helps the algorithm.
End of request.